All right, and welcome everyone to whatever the heck this is going to be. This is a Pathfinder adventure one-shot set in a custom campaign world called the Roaring Shores. 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 And I've been slowly working on creating this world, and it occurred to me that it might be interesting to run some scenarios because it's not very in depth to do the macro. I'm building the different regions. We're building as a community. Really, Dear Wolf Den. There's a couple people that are helping out. Blau and mostly Blau, and thanks Blau. Also Saber. A couple other people that have been helping out. Axel too, actually. Even Drew. Yeah, everyone's really helped except Zeb. Zeb hasn't helped, but he's helping now, which is important. He's helping now.
Moral support.
So moral support. So we are going to be running a short little mini one-shot adventure called The Last Score of Klydos. To set the scene for everyone here, I'm going to have the players introduce themselves, their characters. I'm going to do a little bit of just a slight monologue intro to set the scene, set the feeling of what's going to be going on. And then we're going to have our first little scene, which will be inside of a tavern. And then we are going to go on an adventure, just like in Lord of the Rings. But this one is the Roaring Shores of the Rings. Maybe. I don't know. We'll figure it out. But let's go around the table. Zeb, Axel, Blau, and Chewbacca. Zeb, you're going to go first, because I like to go kind of like from the end of the alphabet to the beginning, and then somewhere in the middle. Or do the start. That's what we're going to do. But Zeb, go ahead. Who are you, and what is your character?
I am Calvarus. I am a human sorcerer. I've never played a sorcerer, so it's going to be fun. I'm going to make things explode.
Ooh. Sassy.
And I'm Axel, the recap czar. I am playing Ignatius Wallace Rivers, who is a dwarf. He's a half-orc, half-dwarf sorcerer also. He's also going to be making things explode, and only that. That is all he's capable of. And it's brought him some grief in the past. So let's see if it brings him some grief now.
It's beautiful. Is that an official term? A dork?
It's
official.
Mostly my term because I like it so much.
I feel like you,
but
you
it should
can't
be
get
official.
away saying that. I don't feel like you can't get
I
away
don't know if that's PC, buddy. I don't know if you can say that.
Somewhere in the ether is upset right now.
Nah,
That's fair.
we're gonna go with it.
That's fair.
I've played dwarflings before.
A dwarfling? A halfling dwarf?
You
Half-
looked
half
at
dwarf,
dwarves
half-
and you were like
Yeah,
smaller.
it's literally me.
Is it just like a halfling that's just stretched?
Yeah, a little
Just-
bit. They're a little taller, a little buffer.
I like it. I'm
I can grow a beard.
I'm Blau/Joe. I'm playing Francis Harden, a mounted knight / cavalier. That he's not very bright, but he's as a result very dependable, very reliable person.
Like a good mule.
Yes.
I like that. Chewbacca.
I am Drew. I am playing Vren. He is a halfling swashbuckler. He's kind of a happy-go-lucky sort, but fairly charming, but a little intense. He's very into his weapons and talking about them, and whatnot.
That's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Of course, I am Wolf, the game master. Excited to be here. Excited to be exploring the actual lands of the Roaring Shores, and namely the Threval's theocracy. So, a little history of the Roaring Shores, just to set the scene. The Roaring Shores is a massive continent, a few thousand square miles of land. The majority of its central kind of land mass is encompassed by these massive gray, brown, white, snow-tipped peaks. And the lore of the setting, the lore of the continent, is that these mountains are actually the bodies or the corpses of millions of soldiers and warriors and citizens who all fought and died with one another during a time known as the Godfall, roughly 445 years ago, in a time known as before Godfall, BGF. This continent was the shining jewel of the entire world, a world whose name has been lost with much of art and history and technology during a time known as Godfall. Now, Godfall was this long, about 30 to 40 year period. No one really knows how long it was. Again, much of the history has been lost. But during this time, the gods stopped responding to their followers. And these rumors, these conversations about gods dying started to arise as high priests started to go insane. Artists, musicians started to lose their minds and become murderous. And it is theorized, the standing belief is that the gods started dying. Now, were they killed? Did they just die of some way? No one really knows, but that is what some are hoping to find out. The first god to die, or at least so it is told, was the god of art, music, known as the Muse, known as the god of beauty, as it were, the god of inspiration. This was the god Klydos. Klydos. And the name of this session, obviously, is The Last Score of Klydos. Now, the four of you, if I understand correctly, are a mercenary, not necessarily a company, but you're a group of mercenaries who has worked together in the past. Now, Mr. Rivers, the good Rivers, you have made contact with a gentleman by the name of Marcus. Marcus is a wizard of sorts, more of a researcher, more of kind of like an archaeologist. He is incredibly interested in this conversation you had with him. You met him as he was actually asking around for mercenaries. You overheard a conversation on the street. He was trying to hire some folks to help him on the exact terminology of what he said was something along the lines of more gold, more than your weight in gold and jewels and riches, and this could change the entire fabric of reality. It could change everything. It could give us great knowledge, and that he doesn't care about the gold, he doesn't care about the riches. Anything you find will be the mercenaries, and most folks are just brushing him off as being maybe crazy or just silly. You know, he starts talking about, I found it, I know exactly where it is, the last score of Klydos, and people are saying, he's a dead god, it doesn't matter, whatever. But something maybe inspired you to go speak with him, River. Something inspired you.
It's the gold.
It's the gold. It's the money. He is promising a sum of 5,000 gold per adventurer, whether you succeed or fail, to be paid out upon your return to Westeros, which is the capital of the Thraval's theocracy. And I'm actually going to pivot you guys over on the Twitch here, so you guys can see the map that we're on. So Westeros is the capital of the Thraval's theocracy. You'll see there's a couple different cities and whatnot. But our first scene is going to be inside the capital, which this is the capital of Westeros. And you have agreed to gather your compatriots and meet with this gentleman, meet with this archaeologist of some sort. You've agreed to meet with him in a small, very much off the beaten path tavern to discuss the final details of this adventure that he is asking you to help him on. He needs some capable warriors, some capable adventurers. He needs mercenaries. He needs bodies to help him get in. Although he doesn't believe there'll be any true danger, he just wants to go prepared. He just wants to make sure that everything will be fine. So we're going to open our scene in a tavern of sorts. And as we open this scene, we see a dork walking in through the door. And Axel, if you could go ahead and just describe your character to us, that would be fantastic.
Yeah. So Ignatius, or Iggy for short, is a dwarf-sized humanoid. He's got a few signs of his orcish heritage, which is mainly the long ears and the tusks, and generally his facial bone structure a bit. He's wearing like a very like new looking coat that is very red, very eye catching. He's got a couple of belts and accessories on, like seems to care about his appearance. He's got a couple of tattoos visible, very, very deep V-neck. No armor or any protective sort of equipment on. He's constantly seen wearing, holding or smoking his pipe, and the hand holding the pipe is also has some weird-looking claws on it that don't appear to be from Orcish or Dwarven heritage, so it must be something else entirely.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I like it. So as you walk into the tavern, you've heard there's a couple of different little local establishments. You've heard some music. You've heard different conversations, some more full than others. But this particular tavern is almost right up against the river that runs through Westeros. And it's usually pretty rowdy. A lot of river sailors, a lot of different workers along like the docks of the river and stuff come here. But as you approach the tavern this evening, it's a little unsettling because it's so quiet. You actually don't hear any of the normal music you might expect, any of the normal rowdiness. The lights are on, the torches are lit. You can see smoke rising up out of the chimney from the little, from the fireplace that is right next to the front entrance. But as you enter into the tavern, you see that it's completely empty. Other than the bartender, who is just doing his bartending, just wiping down the table, the bar top. He looks up and nods to you, and then just goes back, wiping down the table. What would you like to do?
All right. He's gonna walk in, take a look around, adjust his pants, find a table. Like, probably gonna go to the corner over here, have a seat, just loudly set his legs on the table as he reignites his pipe.
Are you here to meet with Marcus?
Aye. Is he here already?
No, table in the center. The long one with the circle next to it. He's bought out the entire tavern for the evening. Paid some ridiculous sum of gold to do it, so who am I to complain? But, I'll get you your drinks and everything's on the house tonight. Are you hungry? Do you need food?
I'll take your strongest ale, and that's all. Which table did he point at?
Table with the long table and the circle next to it. This table, apparently. The bartender calls back to someone named Barbara. She steps out, gives a nod, goes over to one of the big casks, starts to pour some drinks. She does 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then a 6th. She sets the 6th in front of the bartender, who looks down at it, smiles at her, and starts to drink it himself. Then she'll start carrying that over. But as she's carrying it over, another few gentlemen actually enter in together. And I'd like both Zeb and Blau to go ahead and introduce their characters. The same type of situation. The tavern itself is normally most taverns in the evening around the 8, maybe 9 o'clock p.m. hour would be rowdy and loud, but this one is very quiet. It seems devoid of life for all intents and purposes. But as you both enter into the tavern, you do see your compatriot Iggy, Mr. Rivers, and I'd like you both to describe yourselves. Let's start with Zeb, and we'll go to Blau.
So Calvus he's probably about 6'8". He's kind of a big dude. He's got this long brown coat that has a hood that he'd most likely pull off, and he's got really long black hair that he has kind of partially braided with some things in the braid itself. And he's just gonna kind of scan and he's definitely going to kind of nod his head over to Francis and just goes, "It's very quiet in here. Not a big fan of it."
Francis is almost as tall as Calvarus here at about 6'6", but he's very heavily built, about 240, 250 pounds, all muscle. And he's wearing what looks like a dingy nobleman's attire, like nobleman's clothes that have seen better days. He looks like someone who is taught to care about his appearance, but didn't quite take the lessons to heart. He's got short cropped, very functional brown hair, and like a goatee, but no hair that would get in the way of movement or putting on a helmet or taking off a helmet very rapidly, or getting into an aventail or something like that. And he has a sword on his hip. And outside, maybe through a window, you could see that he rode up on a massive war horse, and he had 2 other horses in tow with a man standing outside that looks to be tending his horses and bearing a pack of his own.
I got you.
Thank you.
Got some horses, and you got
these horses can't speak, can they?
Oh, I hope not.
No. I hope not
yet.
to. I hope not to.
Yet.
Is it a young man? Is it an older man?
He's a younger man. In his life, he's probably like 17. He's young. He's a squire.
Oh, excellent.
So he'd be
What is your manlet's name?
George.
George, my man.
George.
His name is George.
Hi, George.
And
George.
France would nod to Calvarus there and say, "Hey, man, it's strange. Place next door is rowdy. Prefer it there." He'd wave to Iggy as he walks over to the table.
I like it.
Hi, lads. Make yourselves comfortable.
Follow suit.
Not here yet.
We've got to wait.
Barbara sets several drinks in front of you. Barbara. I love it. That's pretty funny.
Barbara.
Less.
No one said I was that great, as it were.
Oh, I love it so much.
But she sets the drinks. The ale of the Thurvol's Theocracy is... It's interesting. It tastes almost like it's sweet. It's not bitter. It's not like an IPA or anything like that. It's very sweet. There is a sweetness, and some say it's because of the water that is used in some of its creation. There is the Bronsuni shallows, which is where most of the rivers of this theocracy flow from, and the water's just always got a bit of a sweetness to it. No one really knows why, but there's a sweetness to that water. So you've all sat down. I want to give you all just a quick moment to interact.
As the barmaid walks over and sets down the drinks, I'm gonna kind of tug at her skirt and say, "Barbara, lass,
Yes?
tell me, what are you here when the nerd, the scholar, the Marcus, whatever his name was, what are you here when he came by?"
She gives you kind of this squinty-eyed look and looks over at the bar, and the bartender is just... And then he's got like a paper. He just like undoes this and starts reading. Looks like he's got like a little like newspaper or something. He's just doing one of these, just kind of looking. And she says, "Yes, I was present.
What did you think of the man?
He was very handsome and seemed very learned. Sorry, I don't know if I really understand the question. It was pleasant."
Pleasant. All right, well, I mean, he seemed sort of crazy to me when I met him. I was wondering if you had the same idea.
I deal with many crazy people. I work at a tavern.
That is why I'm asking you. You'd know best.
France would knock on the table and say, which of our patrons aren't crazy?
It's fair enough. This one was crazier than most, I'm telling you.
Wealthier than most, too. He bought out the inn.
He did pay in gold. He had a pouch of sorts, and he just brought out a more platinum than I ever knew it have actually existed.
It's what I like to hear. Yes.
Yes. Anyway, do you all like something to eat as well? As she asks that question, I think that's a great moment for a halfling barge in. And Drew, would you go ahead and describe your character to us, please?
He is a very halfling. He is just a hair over 3 feet tall. Vryn is immaculately dressed in this kind of quasi-military uniform, not like a uniform, but a coat buttoned like the offset style, with the like the collars like kind of folded down, and he's got like tall turned down boots, tall for a halfling. They probably aren't ankle boots for the other monsters that he's hanging out with.
Yeah, I was about to say I like the difference when our party got a dwarf and a halfling and 2 giant people.
I could fit you in my coat pocket, keep you warm and safe.
Aw.
I wouldn't try it. He is he's got a mohawk, kind of black hair with kind of blue tips. It's not like it's not like Liberty spikes or anything. It's kind of a fatter mohawk, but about maybe that long. Scruff, but not like fashionable scruff, not like
Kempt.
just on the fashionable side of scruffy looking.
Doesn't look like a homeless person.
Exactly.
He looks like a yuppie. So there you go.
Exactly. Yeah.
He looks like a Hollywood guy playing a homeless person.
Yeah.
A little bit, but he's very well, very well put together.
Very good.
And he has a gleaming curved silver sword in a black nice black leather sheath at his side, and it very very well polished but very well worn sheath that looks like it has seen some use, certainly. And he kind of hops in, then hops down, and kind of struts over to the table and jumps up on the bench and sits on the actual tabletop.
Vryn, there he is.
All right.
Hello, lads.
Ben?
Now that we're all here, I should probably tell you a couple things about this weirdo and the quest that he's sending us on. Well, that we are escorting him on, more like.
At least he shares our fate.
Right. Well, he claims that there's not going to be much danger, but that is what they all say to get away with a lower cost. But this one is paying a lot either way, so hard to say. Anyway, this fucking nerd is looking for some Godfall-related piece of paper or something. I did not pay much attention to it. And we're simply escorting him on his mountain trek to find it. And as soon as we return here safe and sound, 5,000 golds per head, good as ours.
Walking the hills.
Walk in the hills for 5,000 gold.
Does anyone have knowledge history?
Wait, do I?
What do we look like, nerds? We don't have a wizard here.
Yeah, I'm not.
Certainly not.
Or knowledge local?
I do have knowledge local.
I will accept a knowledge local.
Hold on a second.
That far away from me.
Yeah, that's it.
Well, what you know about the Godfalls, good sir, is that nobody goes there. Nobody goes into the Godfall Peaks because, well, anyone that goes into the Godfall Peaks usually doesn't return. Or if they do, they return changed. They return with a little less sanity, usually. But, it's probably fine. I don't know. It's just, that's all you know. And I'll let you do with that information as you see fit, Bryn.
he will oh geez. This what voice was I using for him? I'm just gonna go. Yeah, there's a lot of madness up in those mountains. I don't think we're gonna have fun.
Well, it's a job, ain't it? Doesn't have to be fun.
Yeah, and we're all crazy anyways, so we don't have too far to go.
And we work with each other.
That too.
At the mention of we work with each other, the door of the tavern once again opens, and in steps someone that Iggy would instantaneously recognize. This is Marcus. Marcus is your benefactor. Marcus is the gentleman who is looking to hire you for this adventure, this quest, as it were, into the not deep into the mountains. He says it's simply maybe a few miles, maybe 10, 20, 30, 50. I don't know. It's a bit vague. He wasn't exact with the details of this quest. He kept really emphasizing 5,000 gold ahead, and all I need is this book. There's a book that I must find, a score, a scroll, something. I'm not exactly sure, but I know where it is. I am certain that I know where it is, and I know how to get there, more importantly. Most folks go into the mountains. They go into the mountains because they have some sort of draw to it, but I have more than a draw. And he kind of ended this statement there, but as he walks in, he's actually a pretty well put together looking gentleman, all things considered. He's looks a little younger, maybe late 20s, early 30s. He wears the robes of a location that you all may be somewhat familiar with. You may have just heard of, you've maybe traveled there, maybe not, but he wears the robes of the Wizarding Order of Folsumia. Folsumia, which is a small little, mostly landlocked region. It has a little bit of coastline, but it is best known for the Folsumia Tower, which is this arcane wizard's tower that is next to this, what's called the Dead Thicket, and no one attacks Folsumia. It's actually a very small kingdom, but no one dares attack, because anyone that has been, well, simply turned to ash. The wizards are very, very powerful there. But he wears the robes of one of their order, and the order that he works for is known as the Order of the Honored Edge. And I'm going to have everyone roll just a general knowledge local check. Even if you don't have the skill, you can roll it, because you may have heard of this order before.
Nice. I haven't heard of anything ever.
No, you don't even know what your name is.
What is a wizard?
Vryn. Very nice. Vryn, you are familiar with this order. It's actually a relatively new order. The year itself is 445 AGF, which is after Godfall. So Godfall apparently took place somewhere around 440 years ago. This adventure itself is going to take place about 40 to 50 years prior to our main campaign that will take place at the Roaring Shores. But this newer organization of archaeologists, wizards, explorers, again, is known as the Order of the Honored Edge. And what you would know about them, Vryn, is that they are extremely interested in what happened in the past. Most say, whatever happened, happened. Let's focus on rebuilding. Let's focus on the future. The past is the past. There are still 9 gods that remain that respond to divine. We can still heal people. We can still do great feats of magic. Who cares if a bunch of other gods that exist in the past no longer do? It doesn't matter. But this particular organization, they want to know. Now, the reason that they want to know, they say, is simply because, we don't want the past to repeat itself. History is doomed to repeat itself, so they say. And they want to find out exactly what happens so they can prevent it from happening in the future. That's their catchphrase. That's their tagline. If they're trying to recruit, which they don't do much of, that would be their tagline. And they're actually centered. Their organization is apparently centered in Folsumia, which is that southern. It's like kind of southwest away. It's about 500 miles away from the Thralls. So he's ways from home. But he walks in, and I want to give you just a few moments because he walks in and he seems to be checking himself. You see he's got this large book, looks like a wizard's spell book on his hip. He has a backpack on. He's this white robes with a golden symbol on the side representing the Eternal, the Order of the Honored Edge. And he's just kind of looking around the tavern and he makes eye contact with the group, but he doesn't immediately approach. He seems to be almost sizing you up. So I'd like to give you all just a few moments to interact with one another as he just stands there looking a bit odd, actually.
Why is he staring like that?
I don't know.
Should we wave him over or?
Yeah, France is just returning the eye contact and still speaking to the group. Like, what are you?
Yeah, I just look insolently over.
Oi, Mr. Marcus, the something or
Vona.
other. That one.
Yes, that yes. Hello. It was Mr. Rivers. Yes, or Ignatra Rivers. I remember Rivers because we're next to one. Thank you for meeting me. These are your friends that you had mentioned to me. He's still standing about 20 feet away from you, having this conversation.
Right. Would you like to join us for a drink, as we discussed?
Join you for a drink. Join. Oh yes. Telling me, I'm standing over here and you're over there. I did rent out this entire bar and Oh, again, good sir and madam.
Yeah,
Nice to see.
That's not weird at all.
Well, privacy is important. There are right here, but yes. Let me walk over to here and excuse me, sir, as he kind of like skirts around Hardin and then takes a seat and looks at Hardin.
If he would go to like brush shoulders past him, Hardin would sit there like a brick wall.
Yeah, he just like
make his shoulder
around.
bounce.
Yeah. You're a sturdy one, aren't you? And he pats him on the thigh, gives him like you're a sturdy one, aren't you? That's wonderful. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, Iggy, Ignatius Rivers, Mr. Rivers, excuse me. Formality is important. Yes. Well, I am Marcus. It is a pleasure to meet you all. And yes, I don't know how much Mr. Rivers has described to you about what I am hoping to embark upon here, either this evening, ideally this evening, as soon as possible. Really, would be what is important. And Mr. Rivers, are you expecting any other allies or what's the word I'm looking for? Compatriots of sorts. I simply ask because there was this group of 3 women who looked like maybe triplets or sisters of some sort that I believe were following me, but I can't quite be sure. I believe I managed to give them the slip. And were you expecting others along the way?
As soon as he says that, Vren jumps up and kind of rushes over to the door of the inn to look around. He rushes over there. Then once he gets out, he he's a little more nonchalant.
What was the what was the name
around.
of your squire again?
George.
Georgie.
Georgie
George
boy.
looks over at Vren and says, "Oh, good evening, sir. Everything going all right in there? You came out in a bit of a start. Calm down there. That's all right." Mr.
Oh no,
Lucy.
when he actually goes out the door, he's just kind of looks around, does
Give
like a
us
little
a,
stretch, pushes.
Give us a perception check, if you would, please.
Okay.
Calvus would also kind of go about to the door.
Well, that was a bit quick. Is he all right? Are we running? Why are we?
Can you have George bring the armor in? We're on the clock now, you said?
Do you accept the job then? I assume this.
Well, if you're about to get knifed in the street, I'd rather you not die now before we take the job.
Well, I don't think they didn't seem aggressive. They actually seemed rather friendly. They didn't approach, but there was.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. If you get knifed in the bedroom, I'd rather we take the job now than.
Francis, you're scaring the boy.
Wait, am
Smile more.
I being knifed? I don't wish to be knifed. Wait, no, again.
Well, that's our job. Yes.
You're telling me that they
knifed.
weren't they weren't your compatriots. Then is that correct?
No.
Oh, well, very well then. Yes. So, well, now there are only 2 of us, 3 of us sitting here, as it were. Did you want to know more about the job, as it were?
I'm sure we can find out more on
Yes.
the way. If we're being followed, we should
Yeah, you
leave right now.
Why are we leaving? Oh,
But before we leave, let me suit up here.
yes.
As Georgie carries the armor in, and I just kind of stand
Sire,
to help him.
Sire,
rest
sir,
me.
I have your armor here for you. Yes. Winnie.
And he'll step away from the table and
All right,
help
so
him
let's
suit up.
do this. We're gonna have the swashbuckler with his perception of 21. What you see is as follows. You see 3 women. They look almost identical. There are 3 of them. They're dressed slightly differently, but their faces, their haircuts, they look to be identical sisters, as it were. Triplets is what they look like. And there are 3 of them, and they're standing just at the edge of the inn. They're on the side of the inn. This is the south side of the inn. The river, you can hear it. It's maybe a block or 2 away from you. And they're just all standing there. Each of them has a sword on their hip. And they're just looking over at you with this kind of a very similar expression to the one that Marcus had as he walked in. This kind of, he's there but not really present, as it were, and they just are looking over in your direction. I'd like to know what you'd like to do, Vryn.
Like I said, he's just kind of looking around. He sees them, looks away, looks back, kind of does the like raised pipe thing, and then turns around and walks back into the tavern unless they do anything.
Are any of these windows, or is this a closed
All of
wall?
those are windows. You could actually
Oh,
see
lovely.
the 3 of them standing out there.
So the brown ones are pillars, and the other ones are windows.
The middle one actually takes a step forward, and she calls out to you. Vryn, I have a question for you. What is a nickname that no one should know? What is something that a friend or a loved one, maybe your mother called you when you were young? What is a nickname that she might have called you? A pet name?
Actually, his full name would be Vrindolphus.
Vrindolphus. They're actually going to call out this middle one in a kind of soothing, calming kind of voice. She calls out to you using your full name. Vindolphus, don't accept the job. It'd be in your best interest, in the best interest of everyone, that you didn't accept this. In fact, you and your friend should all simply walk away.
And
Is this something that the whole group is hearing? or is it
Just Vin. Just for it. For
and
now.
what coin would you be offering me to? Would you be offering us to dissuade us from this task?
Coin, coin, coin. Each of them says coin. Their voices are all very similar at the same time. No coin, only advice. The advice of... And again, as they speak, it goes from one to the other to the other. You can see they're having a conversation. So they're all talking in unison, but you're only hearing one of them at a time. They're finishing each other's sentences. Not coin, but advice. The advice of life. A life that you will waste should you head into the Godfall Peaks. Don't waste your life. Don't waste your life. Give me a knowledge local. This one's tough. This is a very high DC.
You're the only one that has it.
Holy crap, it was a DC 25.
Woo!
You recognize something.
Oh,
It's subtle. But each of them wears a... They wear a small little, like, amulet, little brooch, little pin on their particular jackets or their particular cloaks and coats. And you recognize this. They are members of a... Well, it's a secret organization that a lot of people know exists, but they don't really talk about. But it is the Order of the Eternal Court. And this is like think of them as it's a theocracy here, so it's ruled by a religious council. These are like the secret police of that religious council. And what you would know with that check is that rumors have it that they are working against anyone who is seeking to uncover the past, the secrets of Godfall. They're also known to be not very pleasant to work with. You don't want to be on the wrong side of them. But they're also not known to be folks that'll murder you in the street. So do with that information as you see fit.
So cheap and creepy and intimidating. I suppose we'll have to keep your advice in mind. Thank you. And he bows deeply. I mean, he's really short, so it's not that deep, but bows deeply, very courtly manner.
Give me a
And then
diplomacy. Give me a diplomacy check. Advice not heeded is the same as no advice given at all. And it's the middle one that says this. But as you turn to walk inside, you get all the way up to where there's that little L shape right next to the door, and as you look to the right, the three women, well, they're gone. Where they went, nobody knows. But you're able to enter back inside, where you would see the squire is helping his knight put his armor on. You've fully gotten yourself armored up. Marcus seems not distraught, but again, a little confused, almost lost in this moment. And yeah, go ahead and you can enter back in. As you enter back in, you would bump into Calvarus. Go ahead and take the scene, y'all.
Fuck was that? Seen you lock up in the street. What the fuck was going on?
Oh no.
We lost somebody.
Let's go.
Lost true.
Uh-oh. Do you lose power? I hope not. We'll see what happens.
Did the triplets get him?
Maybe.
Is that where they went?
They might have gotten
Oh.
him.
Looks like they're gone now.
Should we wait for a bit?
Yeah, we'll give it a second. We'll see
Sure.
what happens. He'll message if there's an issue. Classic.
Would go grab another water then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hop into the Zoom so I can fix the overlay at least.
Ow.
Give me 1 second. There we go. Alright. Okay.
He's still on roll 20.
Yeah.
But I guess
Well,
maybe
when
roll
roll
20 is
20
super weird.
crashes, sometimes it won't actually
It's very slow, yeah.
yeah, it won't actually delete you. It's the whole thing. Yeah. Stop video. There we go.
Why
Alright.
no kitty cam today?
No kitty cam today. Dang it, we're just getting into the meat of it. Shoot.
Oh.
I'm gonna message him real quick and be like, "Did you lose power?"
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Calverus's gypsy senses are tingling right now. He does not like this at all.
He's just waiting impatiently for.
Just as a heads up, Axel, Calverus is very nomadic. He's very gypsy. That's why he has trinkets and rings and all kinds of stuff on him.
Like that.
That's how he was able to get into the mercenary group. So he's just like, that's that's bad. Whatever that was, that's bad.
Damn. He's good at divination too.
Creepy.
Oh.
Creepy,
Should
creepy.
be.
He's a sorcerer that took all divination spells.
The best sorcerer build.
Could you imagine?
I'm a Swiss Army sorcerer, and you are a glass cannon, my man, and I love it.
All right, we'll zip on over to here, and we'll just give it a few moments. He says he seems to have lost internet, so he's
Yeah.
working on it. So we'll see what happens.
Oh, he's
Get
back
He's
on.
back
Oh,
on
he's
Discord.
back. Oh, we'll We'll see what
Yeah.
happens. We'll see
Yeah.
what happens. All right, that's good. It's a good sign.
It's a bad attitude to have, but it wasn't me this time.
What's the name of the guy that does all your internet for you?
Paul,
Paul. Good old
he's
Paul.
having a good day.
Is he
Paul's
having
having a good day.
No,
Hey!
you're super clear right now, dude. You're doing great.
I'm back.
Yeah, no worries, man.
Hey.
It's all good.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah,
we have
sorry,
fixed
I'm in
it.
the
Don't worry about
I'm in the middle of nowhere in rural Maine, and
Yeah.
internet is
Hey, if that's the worst thing that
difficult.
happens to us, I'd say we're doing all
Yeah.
right. All right. So when we last left off, the three weird sisters had showed up that are members of this organization, and they had given your full name, and they had also given you a bit of advice, which seemed more like a warning. But you can do with that as you see fit. So you've just entered back into the tavern.
Did my
And-
diplomacy check work?
I mean, they left. They didn't.
Okay.
They didn't try to murder you in the street. So do with that as you see fit.
What was their organization called again?
Great question. Their
Order of
organization
the
was
Eternal
known
Court.
the Order of the Eternal Court. That is correct. Thank you, Axel. Thank you. I'm ready to turn you into American yet. There you go. Pew pew. 45. Sorry.
So Vryn comes back in. He looks a little shaken. Not as cocky as he looked to the members of the order. That I've already forgotten the name of.
Order of
Court.
the Eternal Court.
Eternal Court. There we go. Yeah. He looks at his compatriots and says, "So I found the triplets. They're Order of the Eternal Court. They don't want us to do this."
Marcus collapses into a chair and looks exhausted at the mention of the Eternal Court.
Wait, religious
But-
police are in on this.
Yeah. But
Oh, fuck me.
but they're not paying us not to.
Right. Well, why did you go and hide behind the chair immediately, Mr. Marcus? Are you familiar with these people?
Well, by reputation only. I can say that much. By reputation only. It's really a shame, don't you think? I mean, the history should be researched, shouldn't it? Aren't you curious what happened 400 and some odd years ago, plus or minus a couple decades? I mean, I'm curious. For one,
I'm
I'd like
not.
to know.
No.
You're not curious.
I'm curious as to what just happened in that street.
Well, you
That's
see,
what I'm
I
curious
work for an order known as the Order of the Honored Edge. A bit of a new order, but we are researching into the past. We are looking to see what happened. I mean, there used to be a pantheon of gods, not just one pantheon, but a multitude that existed. I mean, I know that we're not exactly sure, as many things were lost, but look, this may sound crazy, but I've been having the same dream every night, vividly, for the past 4 years, and every dream I go to the Godfall Pass, I head into the Godfall Peaks, and I find a temple, and in that temple I find the last piece of music that the god Klydos had ever written, and that piece of music, it contains, well, everything. It contains knowledge of what's happened. I don't know why I know this. I simply know, but it can't just be happenstance. It can't just be random. It's every single night for the past 4 years. I've had this dream, and finally, I just
All right.
have to
You're
see if it's
telling
true.
me this whole mission is based on this fucking dream of yours.
Yes.
Well, we've dealt with crazier, so I don't have a problem with that. But you're telling me now that there's this other fucking order of
Not so much of
Religious
an
nerds.
order, more religious police.
right, and they are going to be chasing us, trying to prevent us from finding this piece of paper you're looking for.
Well, I don't think they're going to chase us per se. I think they'll let us go into the mountains and hope that we die. But but the difference, I know most that go into the Godful Peaks don't return or return a bit odd. However, I have a map. Now, the map is from my dream, yes, but it is a map, and with this map, it should lead us to where we need to go, and we'll avoid all of the badness. Right. Yes?
I'm gonna glance around to my party members, and I'm gonna give them the signal, the secret hand gesture that says we should ask for more money. That I'm sure everyone is familiar with.
Oh, oops. I don't have it select the right person.
I'm gonna see if they respond positively or not.
Yeah, I mean, France will give him a thumbs up, you know,
Yeah.
with the little
Very
up
obvious,
gesture.
yeah.
Yeah.
Just
Of course.
Calvin just puts it in hand. On his shoulder, just
I don't.
my big buddy.
Yeah, France will say out loud, you know, I don't mind working in dangerous conditions, but for a dream,
Dreams can be powerful things. Let's not forget that.
It's more than a dream. I think it is more than a dream. I think, look, this is going to sound crazy, but everything that's happening right now, everything that's happened in the past, the fact that there used to be potentially, hundreds of gods? 50, 60, so I don't know, and there are only 9 now, and the fact that so much was lost, and yes, here we are in the Thaval's theocracy, some of the oldest architecture, and perhaps there's more. There must be something that we're missing, and whoever holds that missing knowledge, they think of the good they could do. But it's more than a dream, Mr. Harden. It's more than a dream every night. The same dream again and again. Someone is trying to talk to me, and I don't know why they chose me, but they did, and I have to answer the call every night that goes on. It becomes even more vivid.
I'm happy to take your money, Marcus.
All right.
You don't need to convince me.
You're crazy, but you're passionate. I like that. But still, we're going to need more money.
Name your price.
10,000 gold
Done.
per head. I should have asked for more. I always do this. Why do you?
Why do we let you?
It happens.
Vrin,
every time.
I
I'm
needed
terrible.
that was the one moment, Vrin, I need you to step up on that.
Well, it's
Okay.
too late.
No, it's what. Okay.
Remember next time for sure.
Yes.
I
Well.
extend my hand to shake his hand.
He shakes
Francis
your hand.
shrugged.
Go ahead, Francis.
Francis shrugs as well. We're getting close to my weight in gold at this point. I'm happy.
Marsix extends his hand to Mr. Rivers, to Iggy, and you noticed his palms are sweaty and very, very cold. Like, very clammy. Like,
Are his knees weak? Mom's spaghetti?
My hands are very warm all the time.
very warm.
So.
Yeah, his hands are cold and very, 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 very clammy. Give me a quick perception check, if you would.
Sure.
Everybody or just him?
Just him.
Okay. Francis throws a glance over his shoulder and then goes to pull off his helmet and gauntlets, kind of grumbling about the stabbing triplets not stabbing anybody.
Aw, you wanted to fight. Brilliant.
Are we all charismatic dumbasses? Just checking.
God, I hope so. So
No,
as-
God, no. Francis is 10.
As you all settle in, you have a quick finish your drinks, maybe even eat something. It's about 11 o'clock at night, and Marcus is ready to head out, unless you all want to wait until the morning, but he's rather insistent that we leave, well, that you leave post-haste. Post-haste is what he says. So unless you're going to try and force him to stay the night...
Though after seeing the creepy ass triplets, I also kind of want to get out of here.
Yeah.
I like it. I like it.
I'm not opposed, but why do we need to leave this very second?
That is to say that,
Marcus, what happens in your dream? that it needs to happen.
Well, nothing really of any great importance. It's just I've been waiting for 4 years. The same dream again and again and again and again and again and again. Why wait any longer? I'd say, responding with a sense of urgency is the ante to play, as they say. At least I said that. I don't know if anyone else does, but that's what I say. So, yes, you've got to take that roast out of the oven. And that's what we're doing. Roasting, yes. Is everyone ready? We could leave now. Yes.
And you found 40,000 gold to pay us last night. In the last 4 years. Francis shrugs, starts walking away, having left that.
Right. Good. All right, so let's go then. Sally forth, as it were. Any complaints?
Yes, I would like to know who this Sally person is.
It's an
Sally
expression.
I too would like to know who Sally is.
It is a turn of phrase, my good man. You've never been to Folsomina, have you?
These falsaminans.
Yes. Well. So we pivot over to an exterior shot with Ethros, and we watch as our group of 5, all on horseback, I would say, exit out of the western gate. And the western gate, the road actually pivots along the walls. It crosses the river, and then it heads down along this river that ends up kind of ending, gets a little shallower and shallower until it kind of turns into this little swampy area. But there is a road that travels through that swamp that heads towards a location known as the Fallen Palace. The Fallen Palace is one of the oldest pieces of architecture. It's an ancient, old, kind of half of a castle that exists there, but that's not where we're heading. Your guys are going to get to about right here, at which point you're going to have to head off the beaten path into the forests, into the swamp, and into some tree-like areas. And as we are traveling, as the group, the party is traveling, you go for a day, another day, 2 days, 3 days. It's going to take you about 6 days to get to where you're going, and you run into a couple of travelers along the road. There are some pilgrims that head to the Fallen Palace. It's considered kind of a holy place here in the Thurvol's theocracy. But as you finally break off the road on the beaten path, and you start to head south towards the Godfall Pass, it is late in the evening on the 6th day of your journey, and every day that you've traveled, you've noticed that Marcus starts to seem a little more weak, a little more frail, a little more fragile, as it were. His skin looks a little paler every day of the journey, and he hasn't said much. His voice stays the same. He doesn't sound sickly, but he looks just very, very... He looks ill, honestly. And it's late in the evening on the 6th day of your journey. And you've set up camp, actually. You've set up a small little camp, kind of near the edge of some trees. And I'm going to go ahead and just drag everybody over to a brand new map here in just a moment. And who would be like the one that's good at like camping stuff, if anyone?
Decent in survival.
I'm a bit of a dandy.
Okay.
And France
My
says plus
survival's
4, so
plus
plus 6 in various places,
Yeah.
probably Axel then.
All right. Good. So Axel, go ahead and make a survival check, and then everyone's gonna make perception checks, please.
Are we considered to be in mountains yet?
Not yet.
That is garbage.
Yet.
You guys are about right here is where you're at. You're
You
almost
said a
to
perception
Godfall
check?
Pass. Yes, perception check, please. Perception of
Yes,
10.
queen.
Not great. Ignatus.
Ignatius.
That's what I said. Ignatius,
Close
Mr.
enough.
Rivers. Mr. Rivers. You are actually the one that is going to notice this. You guys you're not next to the mountains per se, but you can see them in the distance. And the mountains themselves range in different colors. They're browns, they're They're grays, they're white snow-tipped peaks, but there is no vegetation in the mountains. Normally you'd see a mountain and it would have like trees and forests, but all these mountains are just rocky, craggy looking locations. And you're 99% sure, Vryn, because you got a 29. You would see this as well. Rivers, Mr. Rivers, you think you see some dancing lights, like some gray, swirling little lights. Vryn, you know for a fact that high up in the mountains on one of the tallest peaks, maybe not too far into it, based on the distance, maybe like 20, 30 miles in. It's ways away, but you can see these like dancing and swirling lights. Almost looks like a light show. It only lasts for about 30 seconds, but as you watch it, you notice too that Marcus, even his hands, his skin just seems, it's starting to look more and more gaunt. Like he is almost as though he is decaying before your eyes. But again, his voice is still positive. He's still upbeat, but he's sitting on this little log, watching you all put together, this campfire. I'd let you do with this information as you see fit.
He will share that information with Ignatius.
What?
Ignatius.
Lights? Where?
He points up into the mountains.
How far away is it?
It was
It's miles. Like it's very far away. Miles away from what you can tell.
Quite all right there, Marcus. Like you caught something.
What? Oh, I'm quite fine. I just, a bit tired is all. It's this dream I keep having. It, every night we rest, or even when I'm a doze off for a few moments, it plays again and again and again and again. But, fit as a fiddle, just a bit tired is all. That's all. Yes. Yes. Into the grey, they say. Into the grey.
Mr. Marcus.
Yes.
Is that
What?
I point to where Vryn saw the lights. Is that close to where we're going?
He looks over his shoulder. You'll have to be a bit more specific, Mr. Rivers. There are a multitude of peaks to choose from.
Well, are we heading in that particular direction at least?
You mean into the mountains? Yes.
Well,
I will point out the correct mountain.
Marcus looks over, looks back to Vryn, closes his eyes, and as he opens them, he says, yes, that does seem to be the mountain from my dreams. The trick is finding the pass. We must find the past to discover the past, as it were. Aren't words funny?
right. Well, we should probably be careful because something made these lights up there, and
Likely a natural phenomenon. It's just refractions of moonlight. Nothing to be concerned about.
Fascinating.
Well, my worries are all assuaged perfectly. No reservations at all.
If there is something up there, we'd be more likely to defeat it if we were forearmed with information.
There's nothing to be concerned about. Again, likely just natural lights or fairy fires of sorts. Not actual fairies, just nothing to be concerned about.
Gonna walk around a bit, and I want to see if there's any birds nearby.
You know what? Yeah, there is a bird.
Yeah,
Lightning
all right. I set it on fire for dinner. I pull out a scroll.
I'm going to sense motive also.
Of commune with birds.
Okay.
And I'm gonna ask the birds if they know anything unnatural happening up in that mountain.
Natural. So many natural. Natural forest is natural good. Yes, birds. We're birds. Seat.
Anything unnatural.
What's
Stupid
sleeping?
birds.
Why wake us up? Redheaded dork. Dorks not
important.
coming from here. And there's a
Come
couple
on.
of birds, and they're like chattering among each other. They look like little like sparrows. And as they're
Let's
chattering
see.
among each other, they look over into the mountains. Not good. That's where the fallen lie. The fallen stand, the fallen cried. Fallen. Tweet. And they just go on and on about this fallen, etc. It's a whole thing.
Right. It sounds like there might be undead or something of the sort up there, which would stand to reason, I think.
The birds get very quiet and just kind of like hunker down up in their little tree.
Only say the mountains are the bodies of the fallen.
These birds are suspicious. This whole mountain is suspicious. All right, very well. Go back to sleep, you dumb birds.
Funny from a dork. Dork. And they start chittering. And then as the spell ends, you hear the same chittering, but instead of understanding it, you just hear tweet.
Yeah, good.
Yeah.
Certainly stirred them up, didn't you?
Those birds got noisy.
Right, yes. And, well, they seem to think there's some bad stuff up there. Seem to agree.
That seems to be the consensus.
Oh,
Right.
all but one.
I surmised it's undead, but who knows? Could be anything. No one goes up there, I'm told.
Oh, good.
And as you all
Set up watch.
as you set up watch and pass in the evening, as each of you eventually gets some shut-eye, each of you would have a shared kind of dream. And you would each see a gray stoned temple with a massive stone statue. The temple itself looks to be in disarray, looks to be mostly crumbled, looks to be very, very ancient. And you would have this kind of bird's eye view of the temple. And as the temple kind of pivots up, you see this massive statue. You would see the statue of a robed, looks like a robed man wielding a massive staff. And right between his feet, kind of at the base of the statue, you would see this kind of pulse of this white and blue light. And it's just like whoom, whoom. And you would hear this kind of whoom kind of noise in your dream. The rocks, the rubble of this temple would kind of shake. And from somewhere below, you see this kind of passageway that leads down between his feet, somewhere underneath this temple. And as it travels down deeper and deeper, you would then see this massive library. And inside of this library, you would see hundreds, if not thousands, of books scattered around, some wet, some dry, some pages ripped out, scrolls and manuscripts, and all of this other nonsense. It all looks like chaos. But as we go up to the top, you would see a glowing book. And this book looks to be, sheets of music, different lines, different stanzas, and it's pulsating. This light seems to be pulsating from it. And you would hear this kind of enchanting kind of melody that is playing underneath this whoom, whoom, whoom. And as you all wake up, shooting straight up, you would all see Marcus sitting right next to the fire. His kind of sickly grayness is gone. He looks like himself again. But as he looks around at all of you, he would say, "You've seen it too, then?"
The book?
Apparently we have.
That was sickening. Never seen that many books in one place before.
Told you
Yeah,
dreams
it's
are a powerful
called a
thing.
library.
Never been in one. I hate libraries.
We know, Rivers. We know.
I have fire resistance and I'm still being roasted.
That's pretty funny. That's actually really funny. I like that. I like that. We should leave now. Whatever is happening, whatever needs to happen, we should leave now. We should head into the mountains. We should make our way. I know the path. I know how to get there. I know our destination. I know what is to.
Since we've had this dream, is he more
He looks like himself again.
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Suspicious.
Although you all feel a little tired.
Is there any
I just had a
noticeable?
nightmare.
You know that gray, sickly, almost gaunt-looking thing he had? All gone. Looks like himself once again.
But because we had the dream, do we have that at all?
Maybe your hands look a little pasty. Maybe your arms look a little pasty, but you yourselves, you feel all right. No in-game status effects yet. More just you look a little.
Well,
different.
I meant like I wanted to be able to look at Francis and be like, oh god.
Oh yeah, Francis looks a little gaunt. He looks a little tired.
Oh.
But sounds fine.
Oh no.
Buddy, eat a sandwich.
It's you.
All right. Say we set off, get this thing over with.
Oh yes,
Hopefully not
time
have this dream
is-
ever again.
time is
What,
of the
no-
essence, as it were.
no
time
breakfast?
is of the essence. But breakfast, trail rations. I have plenty. And he'll reach into one of his pouches, pulls out several trail rations, and hands them to everyone. They actually smell pretty good, for dried meat and whatnot.
Hardtack.
Hardtack. I'm gonna sneeze. Maybe.
High quality.
Nope. God bless you.
Oh, I can feel it, like that tickle in your nose. It's not
No,
coming though. It's
I'm-
like passing.
Look
It's
into the
weird.
light. Look into the light.
Look into the light.
God bless you. I refuse to let you
Oh,
get
it
it.
worked. That's weird. All right. I don't know. I don't know it was a thing. But now I can't see anything. Everything's white. I have little halos. But we're going to pivot back over to this overland map, as it were. And zoom out real quick. Zoom back in. All right, cool. So as you guys continue your journey, another several days goes by, and you finally exit out of the actual Thurval's theocracy. And as you exit out of the theocracy into this area known as the Godfall Pass, the Godfall Pass is a valley between these two mountain ranges that encompass the Godfall Peaks. And as you travel into it, the ground itself is, well, it looks very untreaded. There's no normal paths. It's rocks, it's crags. It looks as though someone literally took a giant pitchfork of some sort and just dragged it through here, leaving bits of rubble and crumbling and whatnot. But Marcus, this entire time, he is like a bloodhound. He is traveling. He's finding the little cuts. There's big boulders that you travel through and around. And as you travel south, you then start to pivot slightly west, and you start to pivot north. And as you start to pivot north, you see the mountains of the Godfall Peaks rising up before you, getting taller and taller and taller. But what you notice is that you're heading through this almost maze-like valley of these high rocks and crevices and crags and whatnot. You notice that after what feels like another 2 to 3 days of traveling, camping, you basically feel like you blink, and as you look left and right, you find that you are likely deep within the mountains now. You're deep within the Godfall Peaks, and it almost feels like you don't even know how you got here, but every day that goes by, you start to feel even more and more tired, more and more. You continue to have this dream of this temple every single night. You see this book, you see this music sheet of music in front of you. And as you continue on and on, I need everyone to actually give me 2 fortitude saves, please. 2 fortitude saves. You're looking for a DC 15, that's it. Just a DC 15.
Can I give my extra 15 to someone else?
Ooh.
So anyone that failed the first check takes 2 damage
My second one didn't go through.
to their strength score. Strain. Anyone that succeeded their check takes 0. Anyone that failed their second check takes an additional 2 dexterity drain. You're just feeling very tired, very, very worn out, as it were. And every day that you travel, this Marcus starts to seem, just starts to seem stronger. He starts to seem more put together, as it were. He seems confident. He seems almost excitable. He seems youthful,
Suspicious.
even. But you're traveling, and again, you continue on and on and on. And finally, you start to head up. You've been in this deep valley cut, this maze-like passage that seems to travel through the mountains. It almost seems at times as though the mountains themselves are moving for your group. You know it's not true. You don't hear them. You can't see them, but it almost feels like that. Marcus, again, this bloodhound, seeming stronger, seeming to stand taller and taller. And
I'm adding a
eventually-
+2 to this, by the way.
Beautiful. That's what you needed.
Yay!
But eventually, you all start to rise up. And you start to follow this pathway. And the pathway starts to seem less rocky, less craggy, and it starts to seem more like it might be worked stone. And eventually, you come to this little gorge. Across this gorge, you see a small, partially collapsed bridge. And Marcus, who is standing at the front of the group, just on the edge of where this little collapsed bridge is, he says, I knew it. I knew it was real. I knew I wasn't crazy. I knew that I would find you. Friends, all of you, looking a bit tired, but that's fine. We've been traveling for roughly 2 weeks. It's been, as I said, there was no danger, nothing to be worried about, but it is a real place. We have found the lost temple of Klydos. We have found where this score is located, and with it, the knowledge of how to fix everything, the knowledge of how to change not merely the past, but to perhaps modify the future for the better, might I add. More to might I add, the better is where we are at. But friends, we must make haste. We must be quick into the temple below. The book must be just on the other side here. It must be just inside. Is everyone ready? Is everyone prepared to accompany me? You must accompany me to get your pay. Your pay, yes. It does entail you, obviously, success or failure, but it looks like we're about to succeed.
Right?
Onward.
Yes.
I mean,
Get
I
this
guess.
over with.
Right.
Can you embiggen me because I'm on my horse?
Yeah, brother, I can embiggen you. Please.
That is such a
Hey, Axel,
cromulent
what's up?
word.
Don't mind me.
What? What, embiggen?
Yeah, it's very cromulent.
Oh, God.
Nothing wrong with two bros and bigging each other
I
in
like
a
it.
bathtub, 5 feet apart.
It's just out in the mountains together. It's beautiful, really.
So we
So stupid.
Yeah.
Fucking Zap.
as you make your way into this first kind of area, you see this little statue that looks partially crumbled. At the base of the statue, there looks to be a little incense kind of bowl or urn. And you can see there's actually some incense burning. Marcus takes a few steps forward next to this slightly collapsed building and then stops, looking over at the incense. And for the first time since he started to seem more and more put together, more ready, he actually looks a little bit, not weakened, but a bit off-put, as it were. He looks back over at the group and he says, that incense there, would you mind getting rid of it for me, please? That would be incredibly helpful, if you wouldn't mind.
Where did you say it was? At the foot of the statue?
Yeah, a little incense bowl right there at the foot of the statue.
Can I prestidigitate it? Snuff it out?
You may.
Presti? Yeah, I'll do that.
As you snap your fingers, the incense snuffs out. There is a rumbling noise. And if you recall that kind of thumbing noise you heard, you hear it from somewhere below this temple. But as you hear that, you also start to hear what sounds like drumming. Coming from somewhere.
Oh shit.
And you watch as 1, then 2, then 3, then 4, then 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, just a boatload of these gray kind of fallen warriors start to appear. They seem to formulate out of the very dust, the very rubble around. And they look rather upset at the snuffing out of this incense. Marcus looks back over his shoulder at the rest of the group and says, "Well, you did say 10,000 gold. I suppose it's time to earn your keep. It appears there is to be a bit of danger after all." And with that, my friends, I'm going to have you guys roll initiative. And we're going to jump into a little bit of combat.
Oh shit.
I am going to burn one of my panache points to get +2 to my initiative.
I take it we're in mountains now.
You are indeed.
My initiative didn't go through. What's that? There we go. Let me fix it though.
That moment you realize you forgot to import your attack macros. And that
Who
moment
needs those?
that moment that you fix that, because you have it saved.
The moment we need moment and the moment.
Does anybody have knowledge
Yeah?
religion?
Oh,
Well said.
wait a second. That's impossible. My mod is +5.
Seems to be fixed now.
Yeah, that's terrible still, but I guess I wasted a panache on that.
Not great. I'll play that much.
I was curious. I wanted to kind of make a knowledge check, but I'm not trained in any of them. Is there any way an untrained check can determine whether that instance was like some sort of warding thing that keeps bad things away?
You know what? Give me a wisdom check.
Oh, so wise.
Yeah, you have no idea. You're not
Yeah.
sure.
That checks out.
But give me a knowledge religion if anyone has it. I hope that nobody does, because that's hilarious.
Who needs religious in a religion-based campaign?
Yeah, that's why it's hilarious. But first up is actually going to be this Godfallen, which is what they are called. They appear to be, although the old tokens look the same, they appear to be ancient fallen warriors. Their skin is gray, almost seems to be made of like dust and rocks. They kind of look like Orids, but not. And as they rise up, just formulating out of the smoky mists, their bodies coalescing, you watch as their very weapons, their armor that they wear, the shields, spears, daggers, knives, battle axes forming around them. They all kind of look at their weapons, and they look over at the incense, and they point their swords and their weapons at all of you. "None shall enter, none shall pass. What remains underneath will stay." And then they rush forward. And this first Godfallen is going to, as you watch as it moves, it seems to kind of almost teleport like it's like formulating out of the dust, then crumbling, then formulating, and it just moves forward aggressively towards Harden. Now, Harden, do you have a reach weapon by chance?
I do.
You would get an attack of opportunity against this creature.
Excellent.
Because it is moving through a threatened square. That is a 20 for
Only
a hit.
the first one. Yeah.
For 21 damage?
Yep.
As you strike into the center of this creature, you feel your spear go directly through it. It feels like you're stabbing sand. So it gives very quickly, and then as it gets deeper, it starts to kind of slow. But as you hit it, you watch as this thing just bursts into dust and gray, kind of like this cloudy, almost mist, and vanishes before you. Next one here is going to do the same thing. Kind of jumping around. Do you have combat reflexes? Okay.
Oh.
He's going to get up next to you, taking a swing at you for 15. He swings.
Yes.
As he swings with 15, what is your touch AC?
Oh, my touch AC is 12.
As it strikes through, you watch as the sandy kind of mist blade seems to cut through and actually ignores your armor, slashing in to you yourself. And it deals you a whopping 7 points of damage as it does so.
Does it just ignore my armor like Brilliant Energy, or is it
Correct.
touch AC?
Yep. Just your
Well, 'cause-
armor. Just your armor.
Oh, okay. Then,
Yep.
then I have more than that.
Okay.
I have 10 less than my normal. So that would still be a miss. It would be a 16 AC.
Perfect. So he slashes through, but you manage to pull back as you realize it seems to be going through your armor. Next up, we have this one here, who's actually going to charge up, gets all the way to here as though it looks like it's about to charge Marcus, gets within 5 feet, and just stops. Just stops. It's like, boom, 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 boom. Gets there. And I need everyone to make a perception check on this Marcus gentleman.
He's still there. He hasn't
Yeah,
moved.
he's standing there.
Ooh. Oh, I thought we lost him.
Beautiful, beautiful,
Marcus.
beautiful. One more. We got Vryn.
Please, please. For the
Mine's
love of-
actually a 9, if that makes a difference.
It does not. I'm counting on
I
Vryn.
didn't think so.
I'm working on it.
You can do it.
I have Ranger favored terrain bonuses right now because I'm that kind of cavalier.
Oh, thank you.
Vryn, you notice that as this thing charges him, Marcus takes his hand and makes some sort of like motions with it, and then you watch as the thing just seems to freeze and stop in place. You didn't see a spell, you didn't hear anything. It just seemed like he knew what to do to silence it or to stop it. Marcus turns back. We must defeat them! Whatever these creatures are, we must get to the book. We must get to the last score. It's right over there. It's right inside. Do what you've been paid to do. For the first time, he seems almost angry, almost aggressive in this moment. This one here, again, is going to kind of almost teleport over to here. Gets right to about here. Marcus once again does that motion and it stops. And then we're going to pivot over to this other guy, who's going to do his little chargy thing. Get up to our boy. 20. I believe that is a
15,
hit.
yep. Yeah, I think it's 16. Yeah, I have
All
16
right, you're
AC
going to
against
take
them.
2 points of damage, and
Ah,
I need you to give me a will save, please.
I'm not good at those. I'm good at those.
You did great.
You see in your mind's eye, you see this imagery. It's a flash, it's just a second, but you see this imagery of a horrific battlefield, of warriors of all different types and styles and wearing different armors and whatnot. You see them all fighting each other atop the corpses of just the ground itself is just smattering of blood and gore and guts, and these people are just hacking each other apart. And for a moment, you feel sickened to your stomach, but you manage to kind of swallow that feeling down. Next up, this one here is also going to charge, because Harden's right out front. They might as well.
Yeah, I am.
14 is a miss. This one here is actually going to move over, and you see it reach down with its hands. You watch as the dust seems to start to kind of like go towards the incense, and you see the incense starting to try to maybe light itself back up. Marcus screams, "Stop him! Don't let him relight the incense! It will prevent us from getting inside! Stop him!" Screaming at that guy. This one here is going to run over and start to assist as well. Francis Harden, you're up next.
What would you say the ride needs to be to try to get my horse trying to leap this guy?
15.
15. All right.
I mean, it's like a dust monster, so
Okay. Well, I can't do it because I rolled a 3.
that sucks.
Lovely.
Nice.
So he's gonna try and stick him with the
What's
lance.
11?
Oh no, he's gonna try and stick him with his sword. He can't stick him with the lance because he's too close. So he's gonna set the lance into a lance rest, and he's going to draw his sword and start swinging. Because he has been bogged down immediately upon the first combat.
As is tradition.
That's how
Yes.
it be.
It's how it's be.
At least you have movement speed this time. Well,
Oh,
on your
so much
horse.
movement speed. So he has 80-foot move. It's great.
Yeah.
All of it that I cannot use. 1d20 plus.
It's kind of like you have
10
zero
for
movement speed right now.
What?
It's a crit
That's-
threat. I
oh.
assume that's a crit.
Yep.
Yikes. That one is dead.
Delete that
2d8
one.
plus
Let
16.
me just delete that one real quick.
And for the second one, it would be. That's not a crit threat, but I assume that's a hit.
Yes, it is.
15 damage.
Which one are you attacking?
The next one in line.
That one turns to dust.
Nice.
And he'll go ahead and 5 foot with the horse.
Calvarus, you're up next, my dude.
Calvus is going to. No, that's not what I wanted. Move. Yeah. And. Oh, God.
You can tell I didn't expect to get bogged down because I didn't even make a sword macro.
I'm going to cast Fireball right in the middle.
Yeah, that's not a bad idea. If you place it like right there,
That's a lot of them.
you can get
Yeah.
a lot of them.
5, 6.
Yes. I'm going to
Oh.
cast Fireball.
If you burn away all the incense, is it still lit up?
You don't need to roll that 'cause no, there's no touch attack.
What's the DC?
Oh, God.
The note's right there. 10 plus stat plus spell level.
Oh, why am I? Okay, hang on. I'm panicking.
Don't panic. You're good, man. So your DC is 10 plus your casting stat plus the level of the spell. So Fireball's a 3rd level spell, so it's a base of 13. What is your casting modifier? Should be Charisma because you're a sorcerer, correct?
Yes.
So what is your modifier?
My charisma modifier? Oh, God. +7.
Plus 7. Brilliant. So you have a DC of 20 is what you have. Now, do you have any
Okay.
additional feats to increase the DC of your evocation spells, such as spell focus?
I do not.
Okay, perfect. So it's a DC 20, meaning that everyone failed except for one. Go ahead and roll 6d6 as you are level 6.
Is it /R or is it R/?
/
R.
R space 66.
Sorry, guys, I'm learning.
No, you're good, man. It's part of what this is. 17 damage. Poof, 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 poof,
Oh, thank God.
poof.
Oh,
They all
Oh,
just
those-
turn to dust.
those ones
What?
didn't fuck me.
But did he realize? I think he got this one as well.
Oh,
I think it was within range.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did. Poof, 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 poof.
The
Anything
question
else?
is, does it relight the
Calvarus?
incense?
It does not. The incense turns to ash. Marcus seems to almost get a little bit bigger. Like he's like as this incense is destroyed, you watch as he gets just a little bit bigger. It seems like. Yeah, like he's not like too much, but just a little bit bigger.
I trust everything that's happening right now.
I mean, you should.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
For
I
sure.
think he's a good guy. Not suspicious at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
100% not sus.
And I'm gonna take a 5. I'm gonna take a step back.
I like it. This Godfallen here points his axe, his battle axe, towards Marcus. You shall not be returned. And is going to attempt to charge. And as he does so, you watch as Marcus goes to make that hand motion again. But the Godfallen actually merges with the one right here. And they double in size. And as he does so, he manages to get up next to Marcus and takes a swing at him. He misses, though. Marcus just kind of, like, does one of these. He's very swift for an apparent wizard, as it were. And the Godfallen has doubled in size. But this one here is simply going to do the same thing with this one, merging with him, doubling in size, and is going to take a pot shot at our good horseback rider. He will manage to hit.
Oh yeah, that's touch AC. I forget.
Take 10 damage. Give me another will save.
You're so good at those.
I'm not though. I'm not.
Oh, Harden. You start to see all of these images again of this battle, this horrific, just a wasteland. You can watch as the bodies are just stacking on each other, and you find yourself in this battle, just hacking away, watching friends and enemies, everyone just dying. It is literally the most horrific bloodbath you can imagine. It's like Doom, but just you're stepping on the bodies of others. Like, that is your ground that you walk on. The crunching of bones and metal. And you are now under the effects of a confusion.
Ooh.
Yes.
And that is permanent until removed by some sort of whatever. And yeah, that sucks. So
Yeah.
that's a thing. And yeah, we'll see what that happens. Vryn, you're up next.
All right. Bren is going to move up there, and then that would not be a full attack, so I'm going to remove my iterative and
Break out my good old trusty confusion macro.
And which one are you attacking? The big one?
yeah, this one.
That is a hit for 4 damage. You stab into it, and you watch as just a bit of its like thigh turns to dust, but it seems to ignore you. It's focusing solely on this Marcus character, solely on him at this moment.
And if it matters, my weapon functions as silver.
Perfect. Ignatius, you're up next.
Yeah, before that, I just want to make sure, Drew, if you forgot precise strike, maybe I don't know if you have that.
I do, but I didn't have a full action.
Okay. Anyway, just
I had to move.
Yeah. All right.
I appreciate you looking out for me, but
No worries. Sorry. Yeah, I'm gonna shoot. I'm gonna cast Scorching Ray and shoot 2 of them to this fellow.
I love it. Let's do it.
Yeah, my caster level is +1 for evocation, so I get 2 rays.
Ooh, let's go.
And now I don't have precise strike, so -4 to both of these. All right. Well,
Holy balls. That actually doesn't confirm, but,
Yeah.
but it's still enough to kill 2 of them.
no,
which-
they're both on the first one because
Oh.
I have
You
to
declare
call it
before?
when I-
Okay. So this one right here, next to.
Yeah.
Okay. Skadondal, turned to dust, gone, just defeated,
Nice.
absolutely dead.
Hurt the little man, and then that little man died.
Anything else?
I'll use the remaining sparks from my hand to reignite my pipe.
Beautiful. Next up is this Godfallen here, who is going to push forward, and you would hear him say a name. Unrek shall not return. Marcus seems to kind of sneer at him as he says this statement. And the gentleman pushes forward. He goes to attack Marcus. 22. You watch as he cuts into Marcus's arm. And as he cuts into Marcus's arm, you watch as this kind of trickle of... It looks like his blood trickles down his arm. It's not red. It's kind of this almost black, purplish kind of ooze that kind of seems to trickle out down to his hand. And as it strikes him, you see him take his right hand, rub it up his arm. The wound disappears, and then he takes a bit of the blood and throws it in this god fallen's face. As it strikes him, you watch as it starts to sizzle, and then the creature just like crumbles to dust. And you hear Marcus, but his voice is not that kind of, oh yes, hello, oh, we're going on an adventure, it's fine. It seems a bit darker, a bit more, bit creepier. How dare you! How dare you strike me! Bastard! You have no right! And then he... yes, well, almost all dead. Let's continue on. You've done a great job so far. Just one remains. One remains. And Francis Harden, you're up next.
I can do 4 damage to myself.
Nice.
Harden stabs himself, like punches himself in the
Oh,
face.
I'm sorry. It's a D4 here, right? I'm sorry. No, I'm wrong. It's more than that because it's my strength mod's higher than this macro.
Yeah, that's the thing.
6 damage.
Punch yourself in the face.
I didn't-
Calveris, you're up next.
I'm gonna hit him with a snowball.
Snowball.
Yeah. DC 17.
No, it's not a DC. You do a touch attack for the
Oh,
snowball,
yeah,
so you roll your
touch-
spell stuff.
Okay. Learning.
Range touch of 12. It looks like.
You said a range touch of 12? Yeah, that'll hit. What's the damage?
5d6.
Do it up. That's probably gonna kill him.
Ooh.
Yeah, that thing turns to dust. And as it turns to dust, you watch as this stone pillar that was right in the center there. You watch as it seems to crumble. And you watch as Arden continues to babble to himself,
Yeah, I do.
which is a thing. Face this rubble here. And as it crumbles, you hear Marcus say, "Ha! Worth every piece of platinum. You all have done such a fantastic job. I'm incredibly proud of you. Now, onward to the library." And he starts to march his way towards the giant statue as Harden just mumbles to himself, punches himself occasionally, and then every so often speaks clearly. But
Help!
Francis. What's wrong with him? What? I guess I should spellcraft this confusion thing, right? See if I recognize it as confusion. I don't. He's got some sort of weird curse. Who knows? All right, lads, there's some creepy shit happening, and I do not know if I appreciate it.
Let's see.
I do not have anything to fix Francis with, so you'll just have to deal. I'm
I
afraid.
mean, the wizard might.
True, but the wizard is running over and whistling.
Yeah.
If only one of my compatriots had the presence of mind to go ask him if he could ask him to fix me.
No, I'm definitely gonna give him a piece of my mind.
And as you are walking up to him, all the
Stomping.
way up next to the statue, he's like reaching down and he's continuing to whistle this kind of creepy tune. And give me a perception check, please.
Sure.
16, that's good enough. You see him do kind of this little arm stretch thing, as though he's like stretching his arm. But as his hand flicks out, you see that it's not flesh, it's not skin, it's a skeleton hand. It kind of does this little crack thing, and then does like a long over, and then hits his, like you see him kind of like reach down and tap it. As it taps it, you hear this rumbling. It sounds like stone grinding on stone as though it's opening. And then once again, you hear that kind of creepy voice. I thought he could hide it from me. Oh, Klydos, you sneaky bitch. I knew you couldn't hide it. What?
Oi!
Oh, hello, my friends. Yes, you see him pull that right hand into his jacket, and then speaks with his left hand. Oh, I didn't see you there. Yes, so all is well. You'll get your pay.
is
We're
not-
almost done. We are
it is
almost done
not
with
well.
this. It's just inside.
Mr.
Just need to step
Marcus, if that is
inside.
really your name.
Oh, my name is, of course. Why wouldn't it be? Marcus is
course.
my name. Yes, good. Yes. What can I do for you?
Well, first of all, I would like to know if you can fix my traveling companion and adventuring party member.
I can.
You can. Please.
After I get the book. Well, the score,
Oh,
as it were.
after you get
Yes.
the book. Well, there is some fishy crap going on right now, and I do not appreciate it. You will explain yourself and all this weird shit that's been happening, or else we are not helping you anymore.
Very well. Consider the contract fulfilled. And then he turns and goes to walk into the little passageway that's opened up
That
beneath
is
him.
Even more suspicious.
And unless you stop him in some aggressive way, he slips into this stairwell that heads down beneath the feet, the spread feet of this giant statue, which and nobody has knowledge religion, so you're not sure who it is. Nobody has knowledge history, so you're not sure who it is, and that's okay. But
Yeah.
he heads down into that little area. What would you guys like to do?
I look over at Ignatius and go, "We gotta stick with him."
All right. Calvras, can you bring Francis over?
Yes. I'm going to grab his horse bridles. Can I also cast Infernal Healing on Francis?
You know what? Go ahead and cast Infernal Healing. Give me a hero point that I didn't tell you that you have, but you do. And Harden, give me another. Thank you, Vrin, for being prepared to stab him in certain places. Go ahead and give us another will save. Let's see if you can overcome this madness.
No.
You can't.
Ooh.
I tried. Yeah. You know what? I tried. But okay. Let me go ahead and copy you guys really quick. And as you guys head down, the stairwell goes down and down and down, and eventually the stone turns to wood. And as you travel down and down and down, you eventually come to the same library that you
How wide is the
saw
staircase?
in your dreams. It's actually wide enough for a person to go in, and then it expands. Your horse cannot fit in.
Can't squeeze
unfortunately.
past the entrance.
Oh, he could.
Large creatures
He
can
could.
squeeze.
He could. It's gonna be uncomfortable for him, but he could do it.
That's fine. He's sure-footed. He can go downstairs at full speed.
All right, I like it.
Yeah.
So you're gonna get downstairs, and as you get downstairs, what you see before you is that same crazy library. However, you don't see Marcus. Instead, you see this creature of sorts with a pipe in its mouth, smoking, a little bit of smoke coming up, and it's standing right next to this glowing book. And you can all hear this kind of music that appears to be playing. It's subtle, it's quiet, and you hear this voice. You hear this voice speaking. Ah, yes, of course he would attempt to hide it from me somewhere deep inside of the mountains in so many years, so many wasted centuries, but I have found it, and now that I have found it, everything can begin, everything can be changed as I see fit. Part 1, step 1 of what must be done to undo what has been done. I am so ready for the future. The future. The repeat of everything. The bodies shall fall, and thus I shall grow again. And
Wait,
my
stop him.
friends, you should have stayed upstairs. You should have stayed upstairs, and you chose to come down the stairs when I told you our contract was fulfilled. You would have been paid. And he
I
turns
spend
and
a
you
hero
see
point
this,
back out of turn.
see this skull-like man. And you may absolutely spend a hero point to act out of turn.
All right, Francis is gonna start moving. That's 30 feet.
Mhm.
That's 75 feet.
Mhm.
That's 10 feet. All right. Just want to be there when initiative starts is all
I love it.
for no reason in particular.
And
I'm gonna do the same thing actually, if
I
that's
like it.
okay.
I like it. Yeah, absolutely.
Could do a full move.
guys.
I like it when the frontliners run to the front before the fight happens.
That is beautiful, actually. That is absolutely beautiful. It's going to be a good thing. So you guys move up, and we are going to go ahead and roll initiative. We are going to go ahead and roll
Sure.
initiative.
What? Our good friend Marcus is attacking us?
Yes.
Oh no.
And here
How did
I
you get up
was
there with a standard?
about to compliment him.
I did a full move. Run.
I don't think you can do a run on a hero point. It's just standard, doesn't it?
Yeah. It's well. I
Oh,
sometimes
my
do
bad.
full round, but it's a standard. Yeah, you can just do a move action.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I just can't charge. So that's
Yeah.
all.
That's all good. All right.
So just a single move. I'm sorry. 15, 20, 25, 30. Okay, then there.
Oh, this is gonna be a thing. This is gonna be a thing. All right. And
hold on, I'm working on it.
beautiful.
I'm gonna burn another panache point to increase my initiative.
Mhm.
God damn it!
Son of a biscuit. I'd like to point out that Marcus's initiative, Marcus is in quotation marks because I don't think it's actually Marcus. I mean, I'm not sure, but it's probably not actually Marcus.
Hold on
Maybe.
a second. I might have fucked up how this rolled. This might just need to be +2 to this.
We also can't see his name tags. Doesn't matter.
All right.
Yeah,
I'm
it
pretty sure
needs
that's
to just be +2 to this. For some reason, it took the bonus that I gave
No
it. and
worries. Well,
just
first
did
up
it.
is Ignatius.
All right. Well, Ignatius fixes his shirt and says, "All right, you creepy fuck. It's time to see how well you burn." And I'm gonna fireball him because I don't give a shit about this book or any other books in this library. I'm gonna just chuck a fireball in there and see what happens.
Books are
Yeah.
for nerds.
Yeah, just put it right here on the fancy glowing book.
He seems to realize what you're doing and screams, "No, you fool! Don't!"
Oh, that just makes it even better.
You nuke us.
Boom.
All right. I need you to roll me a D100, please.
I will. That's very high.
That's very high.
Well, here's the thing. This combat's going to be over very quickly. As the fireball explodes in the center, you watch all almost in slow motion as this fire spreads out and time itself seems to freeze. You watch as the skeletal-like Lich Man turns and reaches towards the book, but the flames engulf his bony hands. And he seems to disappear, maybe turn to ash, maybe just vanish, we're not sure. But as the fireball extends out, it starts to whip up, almost like clawed-like hands, up to the book. As it starts to hit, you watch as the pages start to flip, 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 flip. The music starts to rise. It starts to get louder and louder and louder. And at first, this music is actually kind of melodious. Then it turns a bit creepier. You start to hear this kind of sad, almost like dreary, kind of orchestral music. You start to hear it. It grows louder and louder, and everyone is moving slow motion. And then there is this boom, and time seems to speed back up, and there is this wave of energy that flows forward. The building itself begins to crumble. The entrance behind you starts to collapse in on itself. And you watch as this book starts to rise and kind of float ever so slightly. There's another foom. Shelves begin to fall. And as the music rises to its peak, there is this boom. And everything goes dark. And that, my friends, is the end of our short adventure, The Last Score of Klydos.
He lied to us.
Somebody wanted to blow everything up.
And he did. Oh my
He did.
god.
That was
I am
amazing,
so
actually.
happy.
It was a lot of fun. That was good. Good job, everybody. That was fun. Had a good time.
Oh my god.
Yeah, you're all
So
dead,
good.
by the way. You all died.
What? No.
He killed us. He actually killed us.
You've literally killed them.
Wait a minute. Wait.
Uh, That is so good. Oh
Yeah.
my god.
That's the thing. But you may or may not have prevented something very important. I was curious as to how this would play out, and it played out kind of how I thought it would. But
It's so
it was good.
funny.
It was so good.
Because if anyone else had gone first and gone next to the guy, I wouldn't have fireballed him.
Yeah. That's why that's hilarious. Yeah, that's why that is hilarious. Also, you rolled a 96. I was like 20% chance that it goes Nova. It's going to be an 80 to 20, 80 to 100, and you rolled a 96. And I was like, well, the dice have a story to tell, and the story is everybody dies. So there you go.
Yes.
But that was an absolute riot. I know we didn't get too much into the lore, but did y'all have fun? Did it seem interesting? A little bit that you got. I've been slowly I'm going to start doing some more of these one shots over the next couple of months in different locations, just to. It feels like the world's a lot more real when you actually get down into the world itself, and like people like the Three Sisters, the different organizations that I was kind of starting to come up with and start to kind of flesh out. It was just interesting to see. And then you got a little bit of a glimpse of some of the secret shit that's going on in the background, as it were, with some of these other characters, movers and shakers. But with that being said, any final thoughts, questions, comments, or concerns before we end today's session?
Nope. That was great.
I should Raven flighted the fuck out of there as soon
Yeah,
as
you
I
should all, you know
fireball
what?
left
This
her
is
hand.
weird. I don't like it. He might be a skeleton monster. I'm out.
I only got to make one hit.
Yeah. Well, certain rivers killed everybody, so it is what it is. But no, great job, everybody. Very
Blew
excited.
everything up.
Definitely, anybody that's interested, keep an eye out for the Roaring Shores, which the actual full campaigns will be happening probably in January. I'm going to do maybe one or two of these a month, these one shots, just to explore different locations. I'm going to continue to build out the actual world, but I think there's some stories to be told here. And I want to thank the four of you for joining in. I want to thank Miss Kitten, Miss Luna, for being a kitty. And as I always say at the end of every session, thank you so much to the players for playing. Thank you to the viewers for viewing. Happy gaming, everybody. We'll catch you next time. I'll actually be back here in about 3 hours for Session 2 of Star Trek Mag Mell. We're finally getting that second episode, that second session going. It's been a long time, but we're very excited. The crew is very excited, and we'll find out what's going on with this whole assassination plot thing. But until next time, be well, be safe, and we'll see ya soon. Cheers.